Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my December wrap up. I'm going to go over some of the books that I read in December and give you guys my thoughts on how I felt about them. This is The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. I did read this in a book club read with my friends. This was not my favorite read of the month. It definitely was very slow. I think if you really are into like literary fiction and more contemporary fiction in some senses, you'll get a different taste of it. One of my friends, part of the book club, really mentioned like aspects of the book that I didn't really get when I read it. I like more fast pace. I don't really care for a lot of the slow inner monologue and thought processes and a lot of the science that went behind it. The main character is basically trying to help out her clone, which her husband made of her, but with the characteristics that he does not like of her. So without those, and it's just this weird circle. There were some interesting parts of it. I didn't really care for it. It was just really slow for me. But others that might like a little good psychological thriller with more of that inner monologue and connections to family and trauma, that might be more up your alley. Next up is Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. I think this is a really cute palette cleanser and a great holiday read. I definitely feel like it was great to go back to when I was reading my other really hefty high fantasy of the month, which I'll talk about later. And this has a very small town romance vibe and had very much Hallmark elements to it. So if you think small town romance, you think big city girl moving and taking over and opening up like a cafe that her aunt left her, like this is for you. And I think a lot of people would like this. Next up is The Ark, Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez that I received. It comes out April 2025. I cannot recommend it enough. It's literally my whole personality. I bawled my eyes out reading this. It's a long distance relationship, as well as male lead is head over heels over female lead and family dynamics. There's also mentions of dementia and as well as animal cruelty. So keep that in mind when you are thinking or wanting to read this. I do think that this is a beautiful story, so heartbreaking and tugs at you so much. I think anybody could relate to certain aspects of this. So definitely read the content description and warnings ahead of time. And I do believe Abby Jimenez has put those out. I love Abby Jimenez. She is my new favorite author of the year. Because of her, I'm back into romance. So thank you, Abby. Next up is The Will of the Many by James Islington. I think I had pronounced his name wrong in the other video, but I'm trying both ways. So we'll see. But I highly recommend this book. I loved it. It was a 5-star read for me. And it has all of the political intrigue as well as a new type of magic system where people use human will to power the buildings and power the machinery and also to give to other people to then gain powers themselves or give people powers. It's really interesting. I think second book's going to really delve more into it because this was more of setting up the world and kind of just getting a taste of what the main character is about to go through. The main character of this is basically this guy that's running away from something, I don't want to spoil, and comes across this nobility of the hierarchy called El Cisser and basically has to plot to find certain secrets that the hierarchy are hiding and enter this really prestige academy that only the elite go to. And so it's just following his journey. You're meeting a lot of side characters that have a lot of influence within this hierarchy or have parents that have influence and play a lot of roles within what's happening in the hierarchy and within the academy. And I think the second book's really going to delve more into the secrets and stuff like that because this is more of Vis getting a hold of the info that he did get. So I highly recommend this if you want a type of book that kind of talks about politics as well as talks about an oppression of people and also has revolutionary elements because there is a group called the Anguis that are against the hierarchy and are oppressed peoples but go about it in a more violent way. Or so it seems. I don't know. We still have a long ways to go, but definitely left on a cliffhanger, and I'm really looking forward to the second book. Next is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I thought this was an okay book. It is a YA fantasy book, a romantasy, and it does delve into like the fates and almost like their version of gods. And it kind of just basically touches on the main character being cursed and then all of a sudden trying to figure out why she was cursed, what's going on in the grand scheme of things, and who she was betrayed by. So it has a lot of those elements in it. It was definitely slower paced for my taste and not as much interest in the plot. It was very simplistic, but I think it's still enjoyable nonetheless. I know it has a strong fan base, and I might continue this series. I do have other series that I want to get to first. I did enjoy this. And I did listen to it on audiobook through Libby. Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. This was a really great read. It was a really great palate cleanser, and cowboy romances is my new interest now. Is definitely big city girl going into a small town, meeting a cowboy, and just getting the taste of the ranch life. And I think it was so cute. It was definitely a really good start to getting into this series. I know there's like other standalones within it. You don't really have to read them in order, but I do have an arc, one of Lila Sage's next books, and I think it's called Wild and Wrangled. And I'm really excited to get to it once I catch up on all the series. But it's highly praised and for good reason. It's really enjoyable, super cute, and I think cowboys are my thing now. I read Yona of the Dawn, volume 37. Yona of the Dawn has been a series that I've been ongoing reading online, especially because it's really hard to get a hold of the volumes at a public library nearby as well as online. There's not really like a way to read it through a subscription. I have Viz manga as well as Shonen Jump, and so I read manga through there, but Yona is part of Viz and just doesn't have some sort of way to read it on there. Maybe I'm not searching right, but I have to read it somewhere else online. Yona of the Dawn, I highly recommend if you really like strong female characters that have really great character development. This is definitely taking place in like a medieval time. The love interest is really great, as well as the whole story behind it. Yona is basically kicked out of her kingdom after a coup by her own cousin, and her father is killed by him. And then it's just basically her surviving with the bodyguard that she grew up to know and love, which is Hawk. And she has to go out and venture to find the four dragons that are prophesized to take care of the Crimson Red Dragon and part of this whole kingdom lore. So it's just following her, seeing her grow and take care of herself. And this is such great political intrigue as well as super cute romance, and it's a reverse harem. So if you're super into that, highly recommend. That was my December wrap up. A lot of good reads this month, and I'm really looking forward to the new year and the new books that are coming out and some of the books that I need to catch up on. What kind of books are you looking forward to in the new year? I'm really curious to see what's on your guys' TBRs. Happy reading, everybody.